A very good evening. From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. I'm Vidushni Satish Kumar.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minapurarachi, and now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
Rupavahini cyclonic storm moves away. 3 airports in South India closed due to the storm. 400 fully recovered from COVID-19. The total recoveries nears 19,500. The individual who obstructed public health inspector at Atalugama remanded. A program will be introduced to socialize inmates in prison for minor offences after a proper quarantine process. Security officers who found the Claymore mine will be offered allowances and promotions.
Well, into our local stories in detail. Cyclonic Rupavahini weakens into a deep depression as it is heading towards South India. However, the inclement weather condition is still prevailing over the island.
So the now situation is over, and the rain still be expected by the Met Department in the northern and northwestern and north central and the eastern areas of Sri Lanka, and people need to still be vigilant until all situation is getting normalized. So the district disaster management units and the military and the police cope with these situations perfectly in 24/7 basis. Still, we are requesting the general public to call 117 if any requirement of the relief or if any requirement of the disaster management the activities, so that could they can coordinate. They can call 117 call center in 3 languages in 24/7, so we can accommodate them into the real picture. So the situation is compared to last 2 days, it's totally normalizing in many areas of Sri Lanka. So favorable weather conditions we've been informed by the district disaster management units in various locations of the northern and north central and the north western provinces of Sri Lanka, and we are still monitoring the situation with the technical departments and coordinating all these technical issues through the emergency operations center of the disaster management center, and the information will be provided to the vulnerable communities as necessary.
And meanwhile, the Met Department says that Rupavahini cyclonic storm has weakened to a deep depression and moving away from the country. The department said the effects of the cyclonic storm are gradually receding. The statement issued by the Met Department states that the wind speed of deep and shallow sea areas from Puttalam to Mena and Mullaitivu via Kankasanture can be about 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. Thereafter, those sea areas can become rough at times. It is requested to refrain from fishing and naval activities in those areas until tonight. The Met Department says that sea waves in coastal areas from Puttalam to Mena via Kankasanture can rise up to 2 or 3 meters. Vavuniya District Secretariat said that 95 small tanks and Vavuniya, Nadunkeni and Settikulam areas are overflowing due to heavy rainfalls. Several lowlands or paddy fields have submerged. Transport was interrupted near Vavuniya town on A9 route due to fallen trees branches last night. Measures have been taken to restore the area and repair the damaged telephone and power lines. 6,795 members of 1,778 families affected by high tides in coastal areas of the Mena district have been located at 18 welfare centres under the direction of Disaster Management Centre. Steps have been taken to provide them with food, medicine and sanitation facilities. 400 boats anchored near Pesalai coast Talaimanar have been damaged. Paddy fields at Tampalagamur in Trincomalee have gone underwater due to heavy rainfalls. 3 airports in South India have been closed with the arrival of Rupavahini cyclonic storm. The Met officials there had warned that cyclonic storm will move through Ramanathapuram and Tuticorin this evening. Meanwhile, 5 districts in Kerala have announced today as public holidays.
Well, the health specialists say the use of rapid antigen testing method in Sri Lanka is a successful move in identifying COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka. They pointed out that the move has strengthened the battle against the new coronavirus.
That we are using rapid antigen test to identify cases. This test is very good to use in some instances. For example, if there are a lot of cases we are expecting in a small area, like maybe some institution or maybe some village or some place, that it is a good place, that good instance to use this test. As well as among the contacts to identify these cases, that we are using rapid antigen test. Similarly, that we have used this test in down areas in Colombo Municipal Council and also some other institutions like prison in the country, and also that we have used this in the Atulugama, this village that we have, that where we reported number of cases. So that then when we use that, if there are a lot of patients are coming, that means that there are a lot of people that are highly infectious. That is maybe that early stage of the infection. So that it is very important to identify them early and remove them from that society. Then it is that this chain of transmission we can break it. So that is what we are doing with the rapid antigen test, rapidly identifying patients and that taking them out of from where they are. So then we can break this transmission and we can control the disease. That is the most important and the most useful thing in the using the rapid antigen test.
We have prepared over 10,000 beds allocated and identified to be used for COVID-19 patients, and out of which at present we have using only a proportion of over 2,900 beds are available at any moment to be utilized for treatment of COVID-19 patients. And also over the past 24 hours we have performed over 13,000 PCR tests, and we can continue that capacity in the coming days also, through which we are trying our best to control the current COVID-19 cluster that started in early October this year.
The government has taken steps to conduct PCR tests on inmates who have been imprisoned for minor offences and to socialise them following a streamlined quarantine process. State Minister Lohan Ratwatte gave necessary instructions to officials today. He gave the instructions during a discussion with the participation of the head of National Operations Centre to prevent COVID-19, Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva. Several important details which are important to eradicate COVID-19 at prisons were discussed. The State Minister gave instructions to organise programs and lectures to improve mental health of the inmates who are due to be socialised during the quarantine period. Increasing the daily PCR testing and speeding of them at prisons are expected to be done with the assistance of the Army. It was designed to send about 8,000 offenders related to drugs at prisons to a rehabilitation process within 10 days. Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre and Old Bogambra Prison premises are expected to be used for the purpose. State Minister Lohan Ratwatte instructed to send COVID-19 infected inmates at prisons to Mahara Prison and to provide necessary facilities. Meanwhile, Wattala magistrate today ordered to take up a petition on the 11th requesting a restraining order preventing the cremation of the body of COVID-19 infected persons who is among the 11 inmates died in clash at Mahara Prison recently. The petition has been filed by the organisation to protect rights of prisoners. Since there was no representation of the Attorney General when a petition was called today, Magistrate Buddhika C. Ragal ordered to take it up again.
The recycling bin introduced by the Ministry of Environment to recycle used carbon pens and toothbrushes was handed over to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Prime Minister's office at the Parliament complex. Minister of Environment Mahinda Amaravira handed it over to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister pointed out that implementing the environment-friendly project at schools island-wide and institutions is a current need. Minister Mahinda Amaravira disclosed that nearly 80 kilograms of carbon pens are discarded daily from the schools. The Prime Minister appreciated steps taken by the Ministry of Environment to introduce a recycling bin as a solution to an environment problem. 3,000 used carbon pens and 500 toothbrushes can be put into one bin. The bins will be provided to schools free of charge, and INSEE and Atlas companies will purchase them.
And meanwhile, Afghanistan ambassador in Sri Lanka, Mohammad Ashraf Haidari, says that Sri Lanka's experiences in eliminating terrorism are important to Afghanistan to establish peace in the country. A meeting took place today between Afghanistan ambassador in Sri Lanka, Mohammad Ashraf Haidari, and Eastern Province Governor Anuradha Yahampath at the Governor's office. The Eastern Province Governor said the discussions took place between tourism and agriculture industries as well.
much. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. I just had a very productive meeting with the Honorable Governor of the Eastern Province on a range of issues of bilateral interest and concern and opportunities for province to province, sister to sister relationship in terms of business and investment. We discussed what business and investment opportunities exist that the local businesses and investors of this province should take advantage of in Afghanistan and vice versa. In that regard, we discussed the signing of a MOU between the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and the Afghanistan Chamber of Commerce and Investment, which from now on would facilitate investment by both sides and as well as encourage trade delegations, which I hope would include businesses from the Eastern Province in the future. We'll also discuss opportunities in the area of security and defense, learning from Sri Lanka's decisiveness in the fight against terrorism and the combat experience and expertise of the Sri Lankan Army and your other services are very relevant to the situation in Afghanistan as we fight to defeat terrorism, and as we, of course, seek peace to end this war, and then to move on to the reconciliation and peace building and sustainable development work. So there are a whole range of issues that we need to work with Sri Lanka.
Minister Sarath Veerasekara says that security officials who found Claymore mine recently will be given allowances and promotions. He mentioned this as a reply to an oral question raised in Parliament today by an opposition member. The expenditure accounts of industries and trade ministries were taken up today during the committee's state budget debate. Minister Sarath Veerasekara said that there is such a methodology in police and in the military. Accordingly, the officers who found the Claymore mine will be given promotions and reward money. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa said that frontline health workers who bear the risk of COVID-19 should be given the risk allowance without delay. He asked not to tempt them to take trade union action.
No, it cannot be no.
Minister Nama Rajapaksa said that the biggest challenge faced by the government is to find solutions to youth unemployment. He said that it cannot be solved by giving temporary appointments as done earlier by the opposition leader. He added that the youth unemployment, which was about 12 to 13%, increased up to 20% during the last 5 years. He further said that the government will attract new investments to the country to prevent such a situation.
And meanwhile, a group of trainees who has been subjected to injustice at the Ports Authority during the time of the previous government was given letters of appointment today. The ceremony took place at the Lalita Thulatmudali Auditorium of the Mahapala Ocean Institute. Appointments were given to 130 trainees. They are expected to attach to various divisions of the Ports Authority. Ministers Rohit Abeygunawardena, Namal Rajapaksa, Chairman of the Ports Authority Dayarat Nayaka and a group of people were present on this occasion.
The development of Anuradhapura Ruwanwali Mahasaya sacred area commenced today at a cost of 450 million rupees. Unveiling of Sacred Land Development Plan Board took place on the occasion. The path from Ruwanwali Mahasaya to Jetavanaramaya, the path from Ruwanwali Mahasaya to Thuparamaya and vehicle park near Samadhi statue are scheduled to be developed under the program. It also includes the development of facilities near Abaya Tank and Semasingha Mawatha near Kombit Chankulma Tank. The Urban Development Authority manages the project. Minister S.M. Chandrasena, State Minister Shrihan Semasingha, public officials and a group of people were present on the occasion.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do just tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.